My name is Luis Miguel Merlano Hoyos. I'm acting as the Colombian Ambassador to UAE. Thank you, Logistics Middle East, for having us today.
So the recent CEPA signed between the UAE and Colombia is set to start a new chapter of trade between the two countries. I'm joined today by the Colombian Ambassador to the UAE, Luis Miguel Merlano, who's going to talk to us about the trade agreement. Let's start by asking, what are the main objectives of this agreement for the two countries?
I would say the main objective of this agreement would be to set some rules, basic rules, for trade to flourish, to give that blueprint for capital to start flowing more from Colombia to UAE and from UAE to Colombia by creating that framework that regulates investment.
Mm-hmm. And how important will this be for Colombia to open up a new market here in the Middle East for trade?
It is great. We see it with good eyes because it's not only opening a market in UAE, Middle East, but it opens the world to us through all the logistic channels that we have in UAE. There are so many products that we can produce in agribusiness, for example, in Colombia. If we talk about coffee, cacao, avocado, those are huge markets and growing markets. And this trade agreement will facilitate and enhance this trade in this type of products, for example.
And currently, there is an existing trade flow between the two countries. You think that this will then build on that current existing flow that's happening right now?
Yes, it is. Yeah. There's an existing flow in different items. We're close to $300 million in trade, which is good. And we're aiming through the CEPA to reach 1,000 million, 1 billion trade.
And is that an aim that the country has in the next year or the next couple of years, or what kind of time scale is on that?
I would adventure to say it's going to be short term.
Okay,
short term, it's, let's say, 5 years. We should be, within 5 years, we should be there and above.
And besides from the agri-food sectors in Colombia, what other sectors do you think will benefit from this trade agreement?
Mining sector, even though it's not one of the sectors we want to promote as government, it's strong. Gold mining and gold sectors, it's one of the biggest trade items between both countries. It will benefit from that. Oil industry, again, even though we don't want to promote that as an industry, Colombia is an oil producing country, so it benefits from knowledge, from know-how, from less barriers to trade, for example, from the CEPA agreement. Big winner would be flower industry. The flowers, they're beautiful. We grow a lot of flowers in Colombia. We have many different types of flowers, and now adding to that the new direct flight that will go from Dubai to Colombia, Colombia to Dubai, that will open a big highway for those flowers to get here at a good price and in time.
Okay. Like touching on those kind of more perishable items like flowers or, for example, avocados, as you mentioned earlier, how is that challenge of bringing it from such a far distance away from Colombia here? Is there any particular challenges you see in that?
It's a challenge. Logistics, basically, in terms of bringing them by sea, they don't arrive with the right quality, but by having these new channels like aviation cargo let's give you an example. It's going to be 14 tons a day, daily cargo coming from Colombia within 22-hour framework. That makes the goods to arrive on time and in good condition to be consumed here by the population.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's super interesting.
It even leaves room for products to be shipped to different countries around the region.
And do you think that there is any regional challenges here that, like, for example, certain products or certain goods will not be suitable for the market here, or you think most things that Colombia will be exporting will attract the attention of people here in the Middle East?
I think we have to be choosy about choosing what battles we fight. So we have to bring the right products, and for that we will be quite careful in assessing the market and see what the market needs are, so we can bring the products that make sense for them to be sold on.
Okay, yeah. And from a small and medium business perspective back in Colombia, Do you think there's going to be an impact for those smaller businesses having the opportunity to come and bring their products maybe to the UAE in an easier way?
There will be surely an impact, and it goes beyond selling and buying products. It goes with this trade agreement. We're putting into place also other instruments to share knowledge, to share capacity building in Colombia with UAE investment. So it will indeed have an impact in small, medium companies that will get the capital they need in order to grow and get better in the industries they work.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose for, let's say, logistics companies based here in the UAE, there will be an opportunity with more goods coming in from Colombia. What do you think Colombian companies need to look for when partnering with companies, let's say, here in the region, if they need distribution or things like that to distribute the product?
Distribution that you mentioned, it is going to be key. That we need the access to be able to place our product to the final consumer, be it B2B or B2C. We need to find the ways to be able to distribute the product. Moreover, that we're talking mainly on perishable goods, we need a good channels of distribution for that.
How does this agreement align with Colombia's general economic policies around the world? How does it fit into that? Is it like when it comes to international trade, what is Colombia aiming to achieve?
We're open to partnerships worldwide. We want investment to come to Colombia, to arrive to Colombia. We want mutual benefit in every agreement we sign as a country. Win-win situation. We're against trade agreements that hurt one of the involved parties. This agreement, it's quite equal for the parties, where we both benefit from it. So I would say it's in line with our current policy and future policy in Colombia in terms of agreements and what we expect to get out of them.
And on the other hand then, what kind of products do you see moving from the UAE to Colombia? Where do you see that kind of market expanding?
We see investment arriving in the agri-sector.
Okay.
There's a big interest for food security issues, logistics. When we talk agri-sector, we also have to secure logistics to be able to get the product back to UAE. So that's going to deploy some investment there, interest. We see some marked interest already in building hotels, infrastructure, tourism, industry. We see also a big potential there and interest. And we're also working on topics such as artificial intelligence that are of high interest at the moment for both countries.
Yeah, and you spoke of that knowledge sharing part of the agreement. Will that kind of be focused on technology and advancements in that field as well?
It will, it will, and it includes that field as part of the agreement.
Yeah, and beyond the economic ties that this agreement will bring, where do you see this going from a cultural point of view? Like, do you see a lot of similarities between the cultures here in the UAE and Colombia, and where can synergies kind of be developed there?
Colombia is a big country with a lot of cultures within the culture. It depends on the region. So we have big ties dating 400 years back with the Arab world.
Yeah.
And you get to see that, for example, if you go to Maicao in La Guajira, you have the second biggest mosque in South America.
Okay.
You have an Arab community, you have Arab schools that still teach the Arabic language. So we do have ties. If you go and see the food in the coastal cities near La Guajira, Barranquilla, you see the same dishes or similar dishes in terms of food. I think this relationship, this new CEPA agreement, the new flight, will do no more than keep strengthening that relationship that started 400 years ago and giving it more fuel to develop in a good way and in a good sense, to collaborate, to share more culture, more time, business, friendships will develop from that. And yeah, it will build a stronger channel of communication, I guess.
And in your role as ambassador here in the UAE, where do you need to focus your efforts to make sure that this CEPA agreement is successful? going forward?
Let's say as ambassador, I had a plan 10 months ago. I arrived here. First was to see what was on the table, unfinished, bring it back to life, get it signed or subscribed by the parties. After renegotiation and doing some architectural work, it's done. Now this second phase, starting soon, it's to build on that. So we're here to facilitate trade, to get parties together in terms of trade from Colombia, from UAE, through an official channel that is government, so we can have a really high rate of success. So this second phase is called just developing on what we have signed and get the most out of it, benefiting both countries.
And I suppose Dubai is like a main hub for logistics in the world. Do you see this as a move potentially to open up markets in Asia as well for Colombian businesses?
It is. In fact, we have a few companies here that are big importers to UAE of coffee, but the biggest sales are not here in UAE.
Okay.
They use it as a hub to jump to different other countries. So that's how we see it. It's not only UAE. UAE is a strong, big market, but we see it also as a logistics center to broaden our market for the world, basically.
And is there other countries in the region that you are planning on hopefully opening economic communication with for potential partnerships in the future?
We have instructions from our president to start conversations with Qatar to start negotiating a CEPA agreement.
Okay, great. So that will kind of boost the regional presence for Colombia here in the Middle East, definitely.
Indeed.
Yeah. Looking ahead, how do you see relations evolving between the two countries, between the UAE and Colombia, when it comes to trade, when it comes to the economic ties that they are building now?
I think we're at a good moment. We have strong relation, positive relation in terms of political thinking, economic thinking, and cultural thinking between both countries. There's a pathway already laid down where I only see positive things happening. We're going to build on all these agreements, as I said. UAE, there is a good mood around UAE government and the leadership to work hand in hand with Colombia and with a really pragmatic sense to it, just building and benefiting at the same time, but also building, helping fix many of the issues we have in Colombia, and Colombia also bringing here some of the knowledge we have in areas we know to build on that. There's a bright future on renewable energies. We have the wind, we have the sun, we have the necessity, and we have the resources here. So there are so many things that we can do much in the coming future. I think this relationship is meant to grow to limitless potential with limited.
So thank you very much for joining me today. It was a pleasure to talk about the CEPA agreement between the UAE and Colombia.
Thank you for having us, me and my team from the embassy, and welcome to join you anytime. Thank you to Logistics Middle East.
Thank you very much to Luis Miguel Merlano, Colombian Ambassador to the UAE, for joining me today.